Hello everyone, my name is Joshua. This is the 37th video on my video journal series. Today's date is Tuesday, the 17th of March 2026. So it's just been a long day, my brain's a little bit slow, but I guess have you ever had that experience where you ever had like a light bulb moment? That is when you're working on a task or chore and you've been stuck on it for like quite a while, and then suddenly you have that light bulb moment. You know how to complete that task, you know a method, a certain solution, or just like I guess a hurdle to jump over, you know? And you're like, so that's how you do it. Just suddenly clicks in like a light bulb, just like when a light bulb, turns on in your brain. And I think I've had that experience today where I was working hard on an essay that's due next week, by the way, and I've been stuck on like a certain section of this essay, and I've been just like at it for quite a while. I've been at it like since the start of this week and even like the weekend before, and I was just stuck, and I was like, man, I better come up with something quick, fast. So what I did was I got a piece of scrap paper and I just wrote down a bunch of ideas on paper, a bunch of like quotes to use in my essay. And then suddenly it clicked. I was like, hey, these quotes could be like my central ideas. I know how to complete this essay now. It always comes to me when writing essays. It takes me so long to write essays and stories and, just to write anything, even on a laptop, just writing things down. It takes me a long time to complete a task because I like to put care and effort, which is pretty good. I like to put attention to detail. I like, whenever I'm doing a task, just to take it slow and make sure you're doing everything right and everything's precise and everything's good quality, especially my writing. Usually I do like drafts and then I improve upon those drafts. Only downside is that it takes a very long time and it goes at a slow pace. And I've been going at a slow pace, and then I was just hit this roadblock. And then suddenly it just came to my mind, hey, I think I got the gist of this now. Mind bulb moment. I got a new idea I can explore in this essay. And I've definitely had those moments before, but today it just came through me because I was stuck on just writing this specific section of an essay that's due next week. Um, and yeah, I was just so just, kind of over it. I was a little bit burnt out just rewriting the same old draft over and over again. Sorry. So, oh man, what's up with me? Sorry, my throat's a little bit dry. I should have just drank some water beforehand. I'm not sick or anything. It's just that I haven't been having enough water. I should most probably drink some more water. Always say hydrate to kids, but but anyway, yes, and I've definitely had those moments in like school before, like especially in high school where um, you're just stuck on writing an English essay or history essay, or even just like when you're doing, I guess, other subjects like science or math, you're just stuck on a specific question, and you've been like looking at this question from all angles, looking how to do this task or this objective for like hours now. You feel like you're going around in circles, but then suddenly you just get that light bulb moment. Um, and it just feels satisfying, getting that light bulb moment when everything starts to click together and you realize, how have I been so foolish before, It took me forever to figure out this sort of stuff, you know? And I guess that's not a bad thing. I mean, better late than never, but that's a part of the, I guess, you know, I guess I'm just going to apply this to writing essays. It's part of the essay writing process, or just figuring out how to do something. You start off with like a basic draft concept of the idea, but you develop it. You're never going to get it right the first time. That goes with anything in life. If you're driving a car for the first time, you're always going to be a little bit nervous, make some few hiccups. Hopefully, not big hiccups, not like any crashes or anything, but like maybe, you know, not getting, I guess, the right enough speed, or maybe doing a too sharp of a turn, um, or even, just, I guess, writing, you know, I guess a short story or an essay that you haven't really done before, you haven't really experimented with this idea before. And I wouldn't feel ashamed if I don't get an automatic light bulb moment. Sometimes it takes me days to realize how to do something, or when I finally realize, hey, this is where I should be going, or I finally realize this, and you go back to your draft. My tip for writing, or would just be to, write drafts. Prioritize on writing good drafts first, so then that way, when you get that light bulb moment where you realize, oh, I can add this, you can easily go back to that draft and modify it. However, if you try and get it right the first time, you spend way too much time writing, trying to make it all perfect. Then you realize, hey, I got to change a lot of this writing, and you end up just demolishing and restructuring what you got anyway, which is like, you spend hours trying to write, I guess, the perfect paragraph, but then you got to change it up anyway because you forgot to include this, or you got to reshift it towards another, I guess, focus where, if you write a draft, you didn't spend a whole lot of time on it, but you still got all your ideas down, and it's always open to modification. So yeah, always write good drafts first, always experiment first, and then you suddenly get that light bulb moment, And when you get that light bulb moment, you finally realize the direction you need to take this essay, or this task, or this question, and that's when, like the steam train really picks up, um, and whenever it comes to the writing process, I only like do the final edits maybe like the day before, or maybe 2 days before, just right before the task. I look for it again, what I've written, and I say, hey, this is pretty good, or hey, I just need to make up some quick finishing touches, not leave like a significant portion to the last minute. And sometimes procrastination can get in the way of getting a light bulb moment, when you leave a task or you say you can't do it. But like I said earlier, in one of my early entries, that you got to, say to yourself, all right, roadblocks are natural when you're doing a task, all right? Roadblocks are natural. You always got to come through a challenge, a hurdle. Sometimes you got to rework significant portions, and that's completely fine. In fact, if you just do a task with absolutely no hurdles, then that's actually pretty concerning, because there should be some challenge that you identified, or some particular, I guess, hurdle that you need to jump. I always get suspicious whenever I do an essay, or write up a question, or even, write up a story, or just even something simple like, I don't know, vacuuming or cleaning my room. If I'm doing something that's way too simple, then I get concerned, because I feel like I'm missing out on something. Like I, haven't cleaned up that pile of, I don't know, discarded M&Ms underneath my bed because I'm a sloppy eater. So yeah, I guess, hitting that light bulb moment, when you suddenly realize and two go together, how to do a task, or you get a revolutionary idea, or very good concept, just write it down, just write it down. Sometimes I might be walking, out on the street, or walking to my class, or just, sometimes when I'm about to go to bed, I just get like the best idea in my head, and I must like, just write it down in the book somewhere, or just like, write it down on my phone, just get that concept on a piece of paper, or record it, so then I can use it tomorrow. It comes in like the weirdest of places. My brain works in the weirdest of ways, when you suddenly get that light bulb moment, and you gotta like record it down before you forget it, sort of thing. But I guess to end this video off, in order to achieve a light bulb moment, this is like Matthew McConaughey's like Green Lights, if you ever read that book. I've only read like an excerpt of it, but basically it's like when life poses you a challenge, you need to like look how to turn that challenge into success. In my instance, I guess like the light bulb moment will be, all right, I'm doing a task, there's a challenge, like you could be writing an essay and not know where to start. All right, how can I overcome this challenge? Should I go back to the drawing board, step one, just briefly go back to step one and look at my notes, research? If you're, I guess, trying to clean up your room and you don't know where to start, you're like, all right, can I start in like a specific area of my room? Start somewhere easy and slowly build myself way up, And when you're doing a task, it's natural that you're going to have hurdles, A task without hurdles, I feel like isn't, a challenge. It isn't like a task really, because a task requires you to, I guess, adapt in different ways and think in different ways. I guess a task without hurdles is basically, just a hobby. You do it for fun. And, some hurdles may be bigger than others, but when you overcome those hurdles and you change your mentality and your thinking from, oh, I can't do this, to, you know what, I'll give this a shot. I'll write up a draft. I will make some progress. And, you know, I think that's how you can slowly overcome, I guess, procrastination. You can get that light bulb moment. You know, it's when you know, say to yourself, you know what, I will give it a crack. I will give it my best shot, and eventually it will snap in my head like that. I will get that light bulb moment. But yeah, if that made any sense at all, maybe I'm just, too tired and my mouth's, you know, too, I guess, sore from talking at the camera all the time. But I guess that's all I have to say, really. Just keep on working hard at it, and, you know, always prioritize, I guess, um, you know, taking one step at a time. Don't feel stupid if you only hit your light bulb moment midway through a task, or maybe even towards the end. Um, you know, when you get that light bulb moment, act upon it. Write it down, and I guess it kind of, you know, is the spark of creativity. It is the spark that, will guide your creative process throughout the task, or will guide your motivation throughout the task. But anyway, that's all I have to say. I guess I'll catch you guys next time, and see you later. Goodbye. Take care.